As an entrepreneur or a business leader, have you ever found yourself worrying about the competition? Worrying about what the other guy's doing, what he's doing from a marketing standpoint, how much better his business is than yours. I know I have. But what I've really found throughout the years is that even though we don't want to ignore what our competition is doing, sometimes their very presence can be a gift to us, particularly when we start to realize that the only people that we're really in competition with are ourselves. Hi everyone, Chris NATZKE here with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching with your Mind of a Champion tip of the week. The only people we're really in competition with is ourselves. About 4 years into owning my martial arts studio, the Family Martial Arts Center here in Aurora, Colorado, I got what I considered at the time to be absolutely devastating news. A good friend of mine and fellow martial arts instructor had called me and told me that he'd received a promotional fax. Yeah, I know I'm dating myself, but it was a promotional fax of a competitive martial arts school that was opening up basically a mile east of my location. Now, this wasn't only just an average martial arts competitor, this was the top martial arts school chain in Denver, and quite honestly, one of the top chains in the United States. And as soon as I heard that news, my heart literally dropped. And I began to be overcome with worry and fear. And I was thinking, man, I'm just starting to get traction in my business right now. And now this competitor's opened up down the road and I'm probably going to have to shut my doors down. I have to lay people off. What am I going to do with my family? So clearly I was in a place of irrational fear. But what really saved me is I called two of my martial art mentors at the time. And I explained the entire situation to them, basically crying on their shoulders. And both of them, to a person, first listened to me and then chuckled and told me to take a breath and said, Chris, you need to realize something. You can't do anything about those other guys. The only thing you can concentrate on is being the very best you can be. I have to admit, that's not what I really wanted to hear at the moment, but after I hung up the phone and I started to sit with what they had shared with me, I realized they were absolutely right. So I called my staff together for an emergency staff meeting, and I told them about our competitor moving in a mile down the road, and I can still remember seeing their faces. Literally the color draining from their faces and their eyes wide open, and you could just feel the fear in the air. But I told them, I said, listen, there's nothing we can do about that competitor. I can't go down and beat up the instructor, at least legally. I can't firebomb the place. There's that legal thing again. But the only thing that we can do is make sure we're at the absolute top of our game. And at that moment, we talked about being totally dedicated to having the best phone service when people called to inquire about lessons, the best introductory lessons, the best enrollment process. We committed ourselves to have the cleanest school in town and that we were going to have the very, very best lessons that we could teach. We were going to focus on ourselves. Well, I'm happy to report after that first year, we not only survived, it was the greatest growth that I had had year to year in 17 years of opening up, having my martial arts school. And in addition to that, I was able to hire 3 of my part-time people on to full-time positions. Why? Because we focused on ourselves and what we could do. So what were the lessons from this? Well, number one is we're only in competition with ourselves. It doesn't mean that we're not aware of what our competition is doing and we're not aware of the marketplace and how it's impacting, but we don't get focused and in my case, absolutely obsessed with what the other guy is doing. We focus on ourselves. And when we do that, magic can happen. Number 2 is I came to realize that that competition down the road for me was absolutely a gift. It was a gift. It helped me center on my business like I couldn't have before and really helped me tighten up things that, quite honestly have been lacking for a while and got us to a whole other level. And then in addition to that, he only stayed in business for a year to 18 months. And so after he closed his doors, we got a bunch of his students. But in the meantime, I realized that if I was going to worry about him, I wasn't able to focus on myself and my staff and my business. And then finally is the whole learning comes is when you're in those tough situations, when you are up against competition, when you think that the market is changing, whatever it is, the challenge you're looking to overcome, focus on what you're for. Focus on what you're for and not on what you're against. See, when you focus on what you're for, you're going to start to see opportunities open up and things that might have been there all along that you just didn't notice. But if you're focusing on what you're against, your energy, your focus is going to move in the direction of where you really don't want to go. You're going to be focusing on the things you don't want in your business and in your life. So there you have it, my friends. There's 3 keys to realizing that the only people that we're ever in competition with is ourselves. And so this week, I'd like you to ask yourself this question. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a business leader, an employee, whatever focus you are in your business, I want you to think about this. Ask yourself the question, who am I really in competition with? And when you find that that answer is you, then you can, roll up your sleeves and get going on improving yourself, your business, the people that you lead, so you can be the best you can be. And if you're looking to maybe get a little upbeat or a little boost in this, reach out to me. In the link below, you're going to see a new program for me, the Breaking Through Coaching Program. And if you'd like to have a 30-minute conversation about how I might be able to serve you and help you in moving your business ahead to the next level, I'd love to have that conversation. So this has been Chris NATZKE with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching, and we'll see you next time on the Mind of a Champion Tip of the Week.